I had the good fortune, just by dumb luck, to be assigned to Donald Trump's accounts in 2016. He won miraculously. The next day, I was being debriefed by the FBI and whatnot, and that's where I
could
learned.
Just go to Staples and buy TurboTax. So why would I not buy TurboTax, and why would I pay you?
Well, if you're a business owner and you own real estate, there's certain buttons you have to push to make them work together.
Welcome back to another episode of Intrepidus Podcast with your hosts, Dan and Anthony. Here, celebrating episode number 20 with our good friend Alfonso from KSP CPAs. So, welcome to the show, Alfonso.
Thank you.
Glad to have you. I think everybody knows what a CPA does, but not everybody knows what a good CPA does. Can you tell us what the difference is?
Yeah. So, I would say a good CPA is looking forward. A bad CPA is a revisionist of history. A good CPA trained under really high-end CPAs that worked on very wealthy people and know how to build what's called tax-free wealth. I had the good fortune, just by dumb luck, to be assigned to Donald Trump's accounts. So I worked for his accountant for a couple of years. It was just dumb luck. It was literally, woke up one day and literally the president was my client. You know, in 2016, he won miraculously. And the next day I was being debriefed by the FBI and whatnot, you know, talking to me about, you know, what was going on at the moment and what, you know, how do we need to handle the account going forward. And worked under Donald Trump's accountant for a couple of years doing real estate. And then I had the good fortune of training under Robert Kiyosaki's CPA. Learned even more under him. I don't know if you know who he is. His name is Tom Wheelwright.
Brilliant man, Robert Kiyosaki.
So Kiyosaki's CPA made him who he is today.
Wow.
Without Tom Wheelwright, there's no Robert Kiyosaki. There's no Rich Dad, Poor Dad. There's none of that. He doesn't exist. And I learned I'd say strategy separates me from, you know, kind of a regular run-of-the-mill CPA. Strategy. And that's what I
could
learned.
Just go to Staples and buy TurboTax. So why would I not buy TurboTax, and why would I pay you?
Well, if you're a business owner and you own real estate, there's certain buttons you have to push to make them work together, to make sure you're taking advantage of the tax code. I would say a bad CPA is terrified of the tax code. Oh, you can't do this. You can't do that. You can't do this. You can't do that. You know, they're afraid of the IRS. Me, I love the tax code. Instead of looking at the tax code, you can't do this, you can't do that, you can't do this. I look at the tax code and it says, do this, do that. If you do this and you do that, you're going to save shitloads of tax. Can I curse on here?
Yeah.
Okay, good. So
Fuck it.
You're Italian.
So if
Talk with your hands and a lot of
if
cusses.
you want to change your tax landscape, you need to change the way you invest your money, what you do with your money. And the only way to do that is to really obey the tax code. And it's telling you what to do. It's telling you, put your money here, like with a loudspeaker. And most people are just so focused on what they can't do.
This is why the rich get richer and the poor get poorer. And you see all
man.
those poor people saying, that guy pays no taxes. Look at that guy. He's a crook. But they just don't understand.
They don't understand that wealthy person is putting his money back into assets that are tax advantageous and declared by the government as something you want to put your money in because you'll get a tax write-off. And if you don't do that, you know, you're really gonna, you're taking it big time.
Yeah, it's funny you actually say that. I didn't know that you worked on Trump's. You know, I interviewed you separately to be my accountant.
Yeah,
I didn't know anything about that. You didn't throw that out there, so
Yeah.
I'm surprised you didn't. But what's funny
Yeah.
about that is I know the person who is a forensic accountant on the other side who
Oh,
analyzed Donald Trump's
Okay.
taxes for Hillary Clinton's campaign.
Oh, really?
And he said, squeaky clean.
Oh, we passed audit.
Squeaky clean.
I say we because I was a part of a couple audits, and when we passed audit, he passed audit like something like 26 years in a row going. And the only issues he had was his CFO was taking some fringe benefits or whatever. Nothing big. It was really not him. It was really his CFO that made some errors. But yeah, you're right. Squeaky clean. 26 years in a row. Passed audit every single year. And because he was doing things using the tax code to his advantage, he didn't have to do crazy, shady things. He just got one strategy that worked, and he milked the shit out of that strategy. Like to the tune of like, I don't know how many properties he has.
Yeah, so if you're, let's just say you're not a CPA, or maybe you're looking for a CPA for yourself. I don't know if CPAs have CPAs. Is that a thing? But
if you're a CPA and you need another CPA, you're either like
there's something wrong
a
here.
billionaire or you're just not good.
Okay, so let's just pretend that you're a billionaire
Yep.
and you need a CPA. What questions are you asking the CPA as far as
Okay.
when you're interviewing?
I'm asking them what's their experience and skill level in structuring entities, and asking pointed questions about, how would they classify certain types of income?
Okay.
Because there's different types of income, and how you classify that income determines how much tax you pay, right? The average guy has a W-2, works a job, okay, or he has a small business and that's all he does is he has one business. Those are the people that I have a hard time helping, right? They're just like one-trick ponies. I have a hard time helping them. Who I can really help, and, I'm interviewing a CPA, right? I want somebody who has experience working with multiple entities, multiple structures. Someone who has C Corps, S Corps, LLCs, real estate property. And really that's what it comes down to, is that entity structure and how you classify those types of income. If you don't get that right, you're going to pay a shitload of taxes.
So Alfonso's my accountant, probably like 5-6 years now.
Yeah, something like that.
And I remember when I sat down in his office, I asked a lot of questions. I said, "Are you creative? Like, do you do the right things? Like, this is what I'm looking to do." Like, and basically, I knew he was Trump's, part of Trump's team, and I just asked him a lot of questions. And at the end of that, I think I was there. It was like a 30-minute consultation. I think I was there for like an hour and a half. And the next time I came back, I just literally dropped everything on the desk. But I think it's helpful to understand that. And I was talking to you about this some time ago. You're like, "I got a good accountant." I was like, "No, I got a good accountant." And it's hard for a lot of people to not vision, that there's something better out there. And I've referred so many people to you just because I've had an accountant for many, many years. And I just wasn't happy because talking to other business owners, knowing what those business owners were getting, the advantages they were getting, the things that they were seeing, and, that they weren't, being pressed to not do something because they might get in trouble. And a lot of the questions I was asking, it was like, for the last 6 years, and we had to go back because I didn't file taxes for like 3 years because I was going through a divorce. And we got everything straightened out. Everything was good. And it was just an eye-opener to know that, like, there's something better out there. And I remember having a conversation with you, probably a year ago, right? I think I connected you guys a year ago, and he still didn't connect. And you guys talked, and then you're like, "Bro, I'm getting screwed here." I'm like, "You gotta call Alfonso." He's like, "Fine, text me again." And I went back to the original chat. There was the original chat, and I connected you guys. But it's about the knowledge, and you can't put a price tag on knowledge. You can't put a price tag on experience. You can't put a price tag on somebody who's willing to do the job for you that they are set out to do, which is very important in business. And, we talk only a couple times a year, but like, he knows what I need. I know what he needs, and it's vice versa. And it's that simple. And if I'm going through a hard time, I can have a conversation with him about, "Hey, what do I do about this?" And it's like, the knowledge is there. When I would call my old account, it's like, oh, you know what I mean? Like, here we go. Why are we changing the system here? Life changes. Things happen. Situations happen. I don't know. I called him probably 6 months ago. I was like, "Hey, this might happen, bro. What do I do?" He's like, "Oh, you're all good. We'll figure that out." You know what I mean?
A lot of laziness in my business. A lot of comfortable, like a lot of these relationships like you were talking about where like somebody's accounting to business owner relationships are like 15, 20 years.
Yep.
Okay. Too long, right? With most people, right? You're too comfortable. You're way too comfortable. You've been with somebody for 15 years. That professional is most likely milking you, just not doing the right job.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because they're just like, they've been with me forever. They'll come back. And most people do.
Yeah, that's what
You
I
know?
did.
That's what people do. But listen, I tell people all the time, you want to change how you do business and how much tax you pay, you got to go outside your comfort zone. You got to start investing your money in different places. There's no magic bullet, right? There's nothing that you're going to be able to do tomorrow, okay? Just changing something on the tax. Now, let me correct myself. I've taken tax returns, okay? And without making any changes to the way they invest their money, not making any changes to anything structural, okay? But by classifying something different, I've saved hundreds of millions of dollars in taxes on one person. I'll give you an example, okay? Doctor owns a business, obviously, right? He's got his own practice, right? Has about 7 different real estate properties, okay? This doctor had basically 2 streams of income. One, the stream of income that he was getting from doing his own surgery, right? He was a surgeon, orthopedic. So he would do his own production, opening people up on the table and cutting them up, right? That was one stream of income. He had another stream of income that was on the backs of other providers. The foot guy, the hand surgeon, the chiro, whoever, all these different, he had a really big practice with lots of different revenue streams. And he had everything together in one practice. What he didn't and he had tons of real estate too, with all these losses, like from depreciation, right? Most of your viewers probably know a little bit about depreciation. That's how Donald Trump pays no taxes. It's depreciation, right? Grant Cardone, I'm sure these other guys that you guys, follow, I'm sure Bedros, has depreciation. He's got real estate, I'm sure. So he's got all this real estate, this budding medical practice, all these losses inside the real estate that are passive in nature. And he had commingled his active activity, which is the surgery, and his passive activity is with the other providers on the backs of other people together. So his losses weren't offsetting the income from the passive work. So I said, bro, you gotta make 2 companies here. You gotta have one company for your private practice of work on your sweat and surgery, and then you gotta have a separate practice for all the physicians that work under you, because that's passive income. Now, and when we structured it like that, now the passive losses from the real estate wiped out all the passive income from the practice. He saved $1 million.
Well,
Just by making that one change. Okay? Now, I've had guys that already had it set up, but they didn't classify the work done by the other practitioners as passive. So with one little classification change, I didn't do anything but just do that. And that saved $500,000 right there.
Wow.
Crazy. That was one of this is like my best case. Guys that have multiple things going on, passive income, real estate. Those are the people I can really help. You know what I mean? If you just got one small business, yeah, we can help you. We'll help you find some deductions that maybe you weren't taking advantage of. A lot of accountants, they're, massive PUSSYs. You know what I mean?
You can say it.
Massive.
Common question you probably get. What if we get audited?
Yeah. So I can tell you this right now. The IRS auditors, they're like 5 years behind in terms of like knowledge, right? I'll give you an example, right? Was representing a client during COVID, and literally the IRS agent was asking me to explain to her the qualified business income deduction from Trump, which is a 20% haircut on, Anthony, you're taking advantage of it right now. Your QBI, it's called QBI, right? Is brilliant tax move by the president back in 2017. Brilliant. It gave a 20% haircut to all the businesses that needed it: construction, retail, professionals like white collar stuff that didn't really need the tax cut, that were over $350,000 in income, were disallowed from it. Okay, I was explaining to her what QBI was. She had no idea. Literally, I was literally writing the law for her and framing the audit in terms of QBI. So she had no idea. So, like, I ain't worried. My clients get audited. I ain't worried. You know what I mean? Like, I just, you know, and I'm very good with the auditors where I pump them up. I make them feel respected. I make them feel like they're, because some CPAs go in there and they make them feel like idiots.
Like an asshole. Yeah.
That's stupid, right?
Yeah.
I pump them up,
You want
make
some
them feel
coffee?
good.
Yeah, no problem.
You know what I mean? So if you get audited, if you have legitimate tax techniques, you got nothing to worry about at all, because whatever tax techniques we're doing is going to blow their mind, blowing their mind.
Got it.
So yeah.
So you have a family. You have some young children.
Oh my God.
Young children and a
Busiest
wife.
man in the world. I have a 3.5-year-old, a 2.5-year-old, and a 9-month-old. And it's like, I swear it's like there's 8 kids in the house. Not
Running,
3.
crawling, crying,
Everywhere.
bottles, diapers.
Everywhere.
Everywhere.
I mean, they're everywhere. They're
been
in everything.
Baby making marathon recently, huh?
Yeah, we went on a run.
3 years?
I mean, it was funny. The first 2 years, we had a hard time. We 2 miscarriages. We were trying IVF and all that stuff. IVF worked the first time, and that opened the floodgates. Now I can't stop it.
You have any more?
What's that?
Any
Maybe
more?
one more.
Maybe one more?
Maybe one more. I want another boy.
Another boy.
I'd like another boy.
So how does your wife play a role in your busy life?
It's tough. I mean, she's the rock. You know, she's the one that keeps it all together. You know, she's the one who keeps me, kind of even keel and not getting out of my skis and focused. She does that. She keeps me grounded in a sense where, just her presence keeps me, coming back to, some balance, because if it wasn't for her, I'd probably work 18-hour days. I'd work and then go to sleep and then come back and work and go to sleep some more. You know what I mean? So, but it's really hard because when you're married to the game of entrepreneurship, your spouse sometimes takes a back seat. They just do. And she understands that. And she lets me, she lets me, one of the great things about my wife, she lets me satisfy my entrepreneurial, fire. She does.
Hey guys, quick interruption to the show. Please don't forget to follow us and like us.
You can find us on Spotify and YouTube. Hit that like button. We appreciate the algorithm. Thanks, guys.
Love you guys.
So if I give you some advice and you start implementing it now, I think it can help you in the future, especially because your kids are young. I didn't implement this till later on in life, but you're going to be going on nice family vacations. You're going to be taking your wife places. You already do. And you work for that purpose.
Right.
If you get your family engaged, your kids are a little bit young now, but if you get your wife engaged and you talk about the next 6-12 months, like what you're planning to do with the family and why you're doing it, and almost have that as a vision together, and you guys talk about that,
Yeah.
I think it will simplify some things of the stress of you not being there or you being on your phone or you working so much, because you're the breadwinner, your wife's taking care of the family. So you have a mutual thing going on. You have a
Right.
T that you have to cross, right? But at the same time, like, she doesn't get a break. She's always busy and you're never around. But there comes to a denominator where, like, why is this happening? How can we understand each other?
Yeah.
And it's hard for you to understand her. It's hard for her to understand you. But
Yeah.
if you get in line with each other and you say, hey, babe, like, this is what we're doing. This is why we're doing it. That helped my life so much.
Yeah.
And it was able to, really get my family on board with my purpose.
Yeah, it's great. Great advice. I thank you for bringing that up and kind of reminding me to set an agenda with my family and align them with my goals and get them involved with my goals, so it feels like it's the family, not just
You.
dad satisfying his entrepreneurial greed. You know,
You
what
do
I
it
mean?
for a reason. What do you do? What
absolutely.
you do for?
100%. Everybody to give my kids a better life than I had.
Right.
And it's happening. So that's great. You know what I mean? And I remember you guys are probably Pat Bed David fans, right?
Yeah.
Big fan of PBD, right? He set it up immediately with his family. Listen, family, I'm a 6-day-a-week guy. Okay. Saturdays is work day. Okay. Sunday, you have me from the minute I wake up to the minute I go to bed, you've got me. But Saturdays, that's business day. We're a business entrepreneurial family where we work on Saturdays. The day of rest is Sunday. We'll rest then. But from Monday through Saturday, 9 to 5 families that are, W-2 paycheck, it's tough. Mm-hmm. I see it. We have plenty of, individuals that come in, they have W-2s and stuff like that. They don't work Saturdays. And usually they're the ones going, I just don't think I got enough money, to pay all the bills and go on vacation and save for retirement and put my kids through college.
Because they want to do the bare minimum.
They're worried. They're very worried. And it's like, listen, if you're not going to work Saturdays, you're going to get left behind. Saturday's my best day. That's the day. That's the only day I get anything done.
Because you have nobody else around. It's just you.
Oh, it's just me. It's
does
focus.
feel that way.
Saturdays are the best. I love Saturdays. Saturdays and Mondays I like the best. Monday I'm like, oh, fuck, great. It's Monday.
So Mondays I don't like. Tuesdays I don't like. There's a reason why Wednesday, Thursday, Friday are what the F.
Okay.
WTF? What the fuck?
I
What the
actually
fuck
never
just
thought
happened?
about
Yeah.
But for in my line of work, I don't like Mondays.
I love Mondays. I like Mondays. Saturdays make plenty sense. It's quiet.
Yes.
It's like just walking into the conference room and nobody's there. Well, granted, you're in your own office. You're at home most of the times on Saturdays. But yeah, it's just quiet. No emails coming in. No distractions. It's
Correct.
just you and whatever you have to do, and you just hammer it out.
You get more done on Saturdays than probably you do Wednesday, Thursday, Friday.
100%. Without fail, the first 4 hours you'll do more than you do on Wednesday, Thursday,
100%.
Friday, I feel like. But one of the questions that we brought up earlier and that you answered on the intake form was like, one of the issues, not issues, but, as you grow, one of the topics of conversation that you brought up is scaling. And scaling is difficult. It's difficult in every business. Why is it difficult for you right now?
So it's difficult because of the nature of what we do. It is so client focused. It is so custom. It is so client specific and situational. And my staff, it's very hard to download my experience working for Donald Trump's account, my experience working for Kiyosaki's account. It's very hard to download that situational knowledge and expertise to a staff accountant who just passed the CPA like a couple weeks ago. You know what I mean? He's got all the book smarts. He's got great brain, great head on his shoulders, great work ethic, but he hasn't seen it. You know what I mean? And he doesn't have the kahunas to go out and say, no, that's what you do in this situation. So people come to us for the strategy, the expertise, the high-end knowledge, and that's very difficult to download to a staff person. But it's possible. I mean, sometimes a lot of the situations are similar. You know what I mean? If you have an S corp and a business and a real estate property, and you're a doctor, blah blah blah. Yeah, I could blueprint that out. But a lot of the times, it's looking at a set of facts, and the facts could be all different for somebody. You know what I mean? And what they're willing to do. So I'd say that's the hardest part. And then I'm going to sound like a broken record. It's the same problem everyone's having right now. We got 4 to 5% unemployment, right? Mm-hmm. I feel like those 4% that are out there, a lot of them are the people nobody wants.
Correct.
Okay? The job hoppers.
Or they don't want to work.
They don't want to work. Mm-hmm. The job hoppers, the people that they can't stick somewhere, they're not talented, or they're not hardworking, they're lazy, whatever. So we're in that economy where it's like there's a lot of jobs open. There's not a lot of qualified applicants. So you got to get creative, and you got to develop from within. We're taking people from other industries. I took somebody from the restaurant business, and because of their work ethic and their ability to work late nights and work hard and long hours and fast paced, they were a good fit for accounting, great fit for accounting.
So how do you create culture like in your company and in your space?
Yeah, so I don't think you can create work ethic on
Absolutely
an individual.
not. Uh-huh.
You can't, right?
You have it or you don't.
You either have it or you don't, okay? Or you have acquired it over a number of years,
Correct.
right? I don't know if anybody's really born with work ethic. I think you
No.
acquire it over time.
You have to have a passion for what you're doing.
Right, but it doesn't come overnight.
No.
So you have to have an individual. First, you need to start out with an individual that's got work ethic, the scars, right? You've got scars. You've got scars. I've got scars of working long hours and hard and challenges and stuff like that. So if you have somebody that has that work ethic, that's the starting point, right? So that has to be acquired, right? That you didn't create, right? But bringing in that hardworking person will keep the hardworking culture alive in your company. So that's kind of like an acquisition. You're downloading that into your business,
Yeah.
right? You're injecting it into your business, right? But then from there, creating the culture is really about finding a way to keep these people motivated and passionate about work and what you're doing. And just like you said about with the wife, it's the same thing, right? The vision, keeping people aligned, including them in the process, making the company, the success of the company about them, not just yourself. To me, that, the buy-in, creating that buy-in is what, you got to have hardworking people. Otherwise, good luck trying to establish culture.
Yeah, I think you have a very difficult position because getting people excited to work on
100%.
numbers and crunch
100%.
numbers constantly
Yep.
is, there's one of those things, maybe you're not born with work ethic. I think that part of it is innate, but to have an innate ability to enjoy numbers and crunching for 18 hours straight is something that you have to find, not acquire.
We're struggling with that. You hit it right on the head. Is we could tell, and I think the only fix for that really is to make sure you're hiring people that are serious about accounting. Like that's what they want to do, right? Maybe that's what their father did, or actually, to be honest with you, most parents that are accountants, it's very rare their kids become accountants. Their kids don't want to work the long hours. They don't want the stress. They don't want the headaches. They go and do something else.
It seems like you enjoy what you're doing, and I think a lot of accountants, are boring, and they're simple. They're not creative, and I think you get a rush out of being creative. I think that you get a rush out of like, yo, this is what I could do.
Yeah.
And I feel like if more accountants were like you, and thought like you, it's almost like, yeah, I fucking did it. You know what I mean? Like, there's nothing impossible. Like, put it together, we'll figure it out.
Yeah.
And I don't think any accountant, most accountants I've ever spoken to, ever have that mindset.
Yeah, it's because they didn't get the training, right? And I should, now that I'm thinking about it, is have my staff get the training I got because it unlocked my brain. It said, holy shit, this isn't just about a bunch of numbers on a piece of paper. This is about strategy. This is about real people. And it's about changing people's lives. You know what I mean? Like a doctor living in New York City has an extra $500,000 in his pocket. $500,000? That's almost $50,000 a month. Like, that's life-changing. You know what I mean? Now, instead of taking that $500,000 and giving it to the government, he's going to buy another property, which will give him even more write-offs, and we keep the cycle going. You know what I mean?
Yeah, so you need to find someone that has true altruism, which is almost impossible to find nowadays. You know what I mean? But one of the things that I was told quite a while back that I just stuck in my brain, but hire for character, train for skill, right?
I agree with that.
And in your line of business, again, I don't envy you. It's hard on the hiring side of things because, how exactly do you find someone who is who thoroughly enjoys doing this thing?
Yeah.
And then, I think you kind of hit it on the head, right? It's like, how could you find someone who shows altruistic properties or characteristics and wants to exploit that through being a CPA? Hey, I just saved this family $10,000 a year. I feel good about that. Yep. They get to bring their kids to Disney World this year. Yeah. Right?
How do you do it? It's literally trial by
fire, right?
That's it.
Throw them in,
it's
take
either
them
they
out.
got it or they don't.
Right.
And we've got a couple individuals in the firm. You met Judy, right?
Yeah,
When you
Judy's
came in?
great.
Judy is an accounting nerd.
So sweet too.
Loves accounting.
Right.
Loves it. Doesn't want to do anything else. It's what she wants to do. We made her a partner.
Right, well, she's probably 1% of the population.
Very rare.
In the
I have
CPA
yet to
world.
find another Judy. I'm looking.
I'm thinking about what you're talking about and the direction you're going. You talk about strategy. You're not very active on social media, but I think that if you put out video series
Yep.
about some of the stuff that you talk about, some of the stuff that you do, and you also maybe teach a class on strategy, I think that you can help other accountants advance their business, become better, and some of the upcoming people, even your team, can be there and be a part of it. And I think it'll just cycle out from there.
Yeah, there's a whole marketing. Everything you just said is things that we need to do, right? We need to create our own masterclass for tax strategy, okay? And I think it's a fantastic idea to help us recruit people. At the same time, it'll also help us get more business. You know what I mean? And, what you just said would be fantastic for our business. And it's in my roadmap, okay? But what I've been really doing is I acquired another business, another CPA firm in July of 23, and I've been integrating and spending so much time doing that. I'm finally, after this coming tax season, I will finally have gotten through, 75% of the integration that I need to do, so I can then go. Right now, I've just been, getting whatever's fallen to my lap. Like, thanks to you, you've been sending me great clients like Anthony and others, and they're just kind of falling in my lap. And we've been busy just with that. You know what I mean? So I also need more capacity, more CPAs that are, passionate about what they do to really scale. So really got to, Pat Bet David is always talking about, doing things in the right steps, right? Step one can't come before step three, right? You got to make the moves in the right sequence.
True.
PBD is always talking about sequence, right? Yeah. And how many times do you think about in your life where you're like, man, I really went out of sequence there. I rushed. I went too big, too fast.
There
You
were
know what I mean?
shortcuts.
We've all done that, right?
Yeah.
We've all done it.
Yeah.
We've all done it because we all want to just get there quicker, right?
I think one of the reasons why I refer you to so many people is not only that are you good at what you do, I think outside of that, we have like a personal relationship, and it's just something that we started. You saw I was going through something with my kid, and you reached out, we talked, and with your kids, and we just we have conversations just out of nowhere.
Yeah.
They just pop in, and you'll just pop in. So you've built a lot of trust in me because I saw that for you, it wasn't just about the money. It wasn't just about me being a client. It was about being more. And then, every single time I introduced you to somebody, in that first text that you send back to them, I see the value that you have there.
Yeah.
And so many people in business, it's about how much money they can make, what they can do. It's not about the purpose. And I think one of the things I really like about you is that money's secondary.
Yeah.
And as long as you know that you can deliver and you do what you need to do, but also on top of that, you saw that I, kind of needed something at one point. And you just reached out and you're like, hey, bro, and we just talked about it.
Yeah.
That meant the world to me,
Yeah, no, it's being a human, right? It's like going beyond the numbers, right? It's like, I guess it goes back to what you're saying. A lot of accounts are just they're just about the numbers, It's just it's transactional, okay? At KSP, we're trying to be a relationship-oriented firm. We're trying to get away from the one-time-a-year people, really. We have them. We have lots of them. But we're trying to get away from that. We're trying to get more relationship-based business where we could sink our teeth into it as opposed to once a year. We're really trying to bring our clients up as well. We're trying to build wealth with our clients. And we're doing that in a couple different ways. One, the tax-free wealth, which I told you about before. Some of our clients that really have bought into our strategies, instead of writing a check for $500,000 to the government, they're turning around and taking that $500,000 payment and putting a down payment on a $2 million property. Okay, so now they've created an asset instead of paying the government. That asset now pays them rent, gets them more write-offs to write off more income, and it builds like a snowball. It's amazing, really. Donald Trump, he doesn't pay much taxes because of depreciation, right? And you got to buy a lot of property for that. So that's one way. That's tax-free wealth, right? And the other way is through leverage, right? I think leverage is the eighth wonder of the world, okay? And most investment advisors are not using it. The investment business got so conservative after 2008 with the complaints. The broker dealers got on lockdown. They've basically been confined to investing your money at 5 to 8%, and they're babysitters is what they are. They're babysitting your money. Okay, they're not growing it exponentially. Okay, what we do at our firm on the investment side is we use options and we use margin. Okay, and it's all public knowledge. Our firm in 2020 was up 300%. Okay. And this year to date, we're around 155%.
Wow.
Okay. It's life-changing stuff. So our clients are coming in and they're investing with us. They're buying real estate. And we've made, I think we've made more millionaires out of common people than anyone out there. I don't know anybody that's doing what we're doing. Our clients have not only paid less in taxes, but they've built enormous wealth that they'll never leave. Where are they going? Yeah. We've created an entire life for them, okay? Because we have the balls to do it, right? The balls to take tax positions that are, intricate. You can't be lazy to take these tax positions. Can't be lazy, and you got to be skilled. And then on the other side, we're not satisfied with making 5 to 8%, like in the market. We're looking to take people that have $500,000 and in a short period of time, have $5 million liquid, right? We want our clients to build two worlds, really. We want them to build hard assets that produce things, right? Like the Warren Buffett is always talking about, buy assets that produce things, right? Whether it's a railroad, and we focus on real estate, right? So buy productive assets, hard assets, like real estate, okay? They give you tax advantages. But at the same time, we try to coach people to become liquid as well, right? Nothing's worse than being house rich and cash poor. You know what I mean? Now, the big guys, they can borrow against their properties, no problem. They got the relationship with the banks. They call up a bank and they get their money really quickly. The average guy, it's a little harder, right? Getting money out of a property and then interest rates spike or whatever. Whereas if you're liquid, you could borrow against your stocks and like that.
Right.
You could take a $100,000 loan and get your stocks, not blow up your investment strategy, not have to liquidate your positions. You could just borrow against your stocks, pay it back, when you're good, So we try to create that two-pronged approach where our clients are nice and they've got plenty of liquid assets they can access. And then they've also got these hard assets giving them tax advantages and passive income and stuff like that. And then also we try to take their business to the next level in terms of, coaching them to, stop just being a sole proprietor and working, like the surgeon, right? We've coached many doctors to expand their practice and bring on other doctors and create that passive stream of income. So, that's what we're about.
Well, I know for one, I'm excited to be onboarded with the KSP
We're
family.
excited to have you.
Really excited to see what happens in the coming year. I know some people are probably thinking what I would be thinking if I was watching this and speak about CPAs and taxes and, offsetting your tax liability and assets and the whole nine, right? They'd be asking, well, what is my accountant doing for me? What is my CPA doing for me? So my question to you before we close out for the day is, what question would you have them ask their CPA for them to make a better judgment call of, hey, maybe I should be looking elsewhere? And then how do they find you?
Okay. So what I would ask my accountant if I was a regular, taxpayer and I was going to my accountant to interview them to see if they're, suitable for, tax reduction, is I would say ask them about the future. What do I need to do? What do I need to change about how I invest my money and how I'm structured, okay, to save taxes, right? Because sometimes as accountants, right, people come to us and they give us their tax returns and what they've got going on. And what they've got going on is too simple. The accountant needs to paint a picture of the future. Okay, do this, do that in the future, and align yourself like that. And then all the tax savings will come. Because sometimes it's just not there yet. You just need to change how you're going to, act in the future. So I would say, what do I need to do in the future, okay, to save more in taxes? How do I got to structure my business? You know what I mean? And then I would ask, really a pointed question, how do I use depreciation to offset taxes, and see what kind of answers they come back with?
Right.
And if they come back with a very basic, restrictive approach, like, oh yeah, it's only for this, blah, 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 then you'll know that that accountant doesn't really have the foresight or the skills to make it really magical.
And if that's the answer that they get, how do they find you?
So we can be found ksp-cpas.com, okay? Or you could email us at office@ksp-cpas.com. Email us there. And that's the best way to get us.
Awesome. Well, Alfonso, it was awesome having you out here today.
Great.
I gained a lot of knowledge just out of this.
Me too.
More than I even thought I knew about you
Yeah.
and about the game. But if you're not following us on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Music, go ahead and do so. And stay tuned. This is a great episode.
Thanks,
See you
guys.
soon. Thanks, Alfonso.